What if Natsu dragged Neil never joined Fairy Tail? How would this impact the Fairy Tail Guild?
Don't blame me if I break you.
What is going on, my fairy fans? Welcome to this week's episode of Fairy Tail Discussion, where we do weekly discussion like What If and Top 10 discussion on Fairy Tail. Today's discussion is, what if Natsu dragged Neil never joined Fairy Tail? How would this affect the Fairy Tail Guild, and more importantly, what would have happened to all the members if Natsu never joined Fairy Tail? I made a video called What If Lucy Heartfilia Never Joined Fairy Tail? How would this affect Fairy Tail? A lot of people liked that video and they all requested me to make a video on What If Natsu Never Joined Fairy Tail. So here's a video on What If Natsu Never Joined Fairy Tail. And in this side discussion, I'm going to talk about storytelling about what would have happened to all the events without Natsu there, and how the Fairy Tail Guild would have happened, and how would the Fairy Tail Guild end up at the end of the story if Natsu wasn't there. And after seeing that around my script, I saw that if Natsu never joined Fairy Tail, it would not end in a good way. So at the end of the discussion, I'd like for you guys to share me your thoughts on this and what do you guys think about this discussion. So my fairy fans, let's get right to the discussion. What if Natsu dragged Neil never joined Fairy Tail? Alright, so let's start off from the way beginning. If Natsu never joined Fairy Tail, then Happy would not join Fairy Tail either, because the only reason why Happy joined Fairy Tail was because Natsu found Happy while he was punching a tree, pretending that was Urza and Gray, taking out his anger. He punched a tree so hard, and from there Happy fell down, and that's when he decided to take care of the egg. Both him and Lizana raised that egg, and therefore Happy became one of the Fairy Tail family. But if Natsu never joined Fairy Tail, he would not have met Happy, and Happy would not join the Fairy Tail Guild. Now, speaking of joining, if that's the case, looks like Lucy Heartfilia most likely wouldn't join Fairy Tail, because it was Natsu who helped Lucy come join Fairy Tail. In the beginning, she had a dream to always join Fairy Tail, but she said herself inside the Phantom Lord arc that she was this close to joining Phantom Lord over Fairy Tail because she thought it was a pretty good guild and stuff. But because of Natsu, she changed her mind to come to Fairy Tail. So if Lucy never met Natsu, therefore Lucy wouldn't join Fairy Tail. Now if Lucy never joined Fairy Tail, it would have been a big story on that. I already made a video on what would have happened if Lucy never joined Fairy Tail, so you could go check that out. One thing we all know for sure is if not having Natsu inside Fairy Tail, it would definitely make the guild not the same place. The guild will be a very different place without Natsu, because he pretty much brings out the Fairy Tail feeling with having Natsu there. Now when it comes to the Eisenwald arc, Urza and Gray would most likely go themselves to try to stop Eisenwald without Natsu, because there's no Natsu there in Fairy Tail, so no one would been there to fight Aragorn. And if that's the case, both Gray and Urza would have been trapped inside the Onabas station, all because of the wind barrier that Aragorn put there. And without Lucy, they cannot summon Vergo to break the wind barrier, to break a hole in the ground. But then, knowing Makarov, he would have handled his own against Aragorn, and therefore you have all the other guild masters there. They would have found a way to stop the Eisenwald arc and not summon Lullaby. So that would have been taken care of by the guild master, not by Natsu, Urza, or Gray. But one thing we know for sure is Fairy Tail would not have been responsible for a lot of destruction. If anything, Natsu is one of the most characters inside Fairy Tail who brings out the most destruction. Now, he likes to break stuff and just likes to go around and tear stuff apart. Is the reason why the Magic Council always had a thing for Natsu. They always got pissed, had an anger feeling towards Fairy Tail, because they always leave destruction there. Now, if Natsu never joined Fairy Tail, no one would have gone to Ganula Island, because it was Natsu and Happy who decided to go and try out the S-Class job request, and therefore they decided to go to Ganula Island. And if they didn't go to Ganula Island, Leon would have successfully awakened Deliora, and then therefore before he could fight Deliora, he will see that Deliora is already dead, all because of Ur's magic, and therefore Leon would have been upset again that he wasn't able to fight Deliora. But when it comes out to it, it's most high likely that Leon probably would not join any other guild life, because it was Gray who recommended him to go and try the guild life, because now that his one dream's crushed, he could go try another dream. But since no one went to Galuna Island, Leon would not have no advice of joining a guild, so most likely Leon would not join Blue Pegasus. Now when it comes to Phantom Lord arc, Phantom Lord would not attack Fairy Tail, because why? Lucy Heartfilia is not inside Fairy Tail, it's not too brought into Fairy Tail, and therefore they would not attack Fairy Tail. And if they didn't attack Fairy Tail, Gajil and Juvia would not join the guild. Now when it comes to Urza Scarlet wouldn't be the same Urza Scarlet she is right now. She still would have been very, independent and uptight, because it was after the incident of Tower of Heaven, Erza became more open, and she started to realize all her friends. She started to have a lot of love for her friends, and she started to live for her friends. And that was all because of Natsu. He's the one who showed her that inside the Tower of Heaven arc. But if there's no Natsu there, Erza would still would have been independent, and she would not have been so close with the guild that she is right now inside Fairy Tail. And now when it comes to Loki, he would have died inside Fairy Tail because Lucy would have been there to save him, because there's no Lucy inside Fairy Tail. Therefore, Loki would have died. And then when it comes to Jalal, he would have somehow found a way to bring Erza towards him, because at the end of the day, Erza is his sacrifice material in order to awaken Zeref. Is the reason why he would try some way to bring Erza back to the Tower of Heaven. And now that Erza is back to the Tower of Heaven, there would have been no Natsu there to stop Jalal, because it was Natsu who managed to fight Jalal, activate his Dragon Force, and beat Jalal. But because there's no Natsu there, Erza would most likely die inside the Heaven of Tower arc. And that's one big con right there of not having Natsu, that my girl Erza Scarlet would have died inside Fairy Tail in the hands of Jalal. And then when it comes to Natsu, he had a huge impact in every arc. Inside the Thunder Palace arc, if there was no Natsu there, Loxus could have easily taken over the guild, because since there's no Natsu there, Phantom will never attack, no Godzilla or Natsu, and therefore with not having those two inside the guild, Loxus could have easily taken over the guild. That is until Mystican comes to fight Loxus, and when Mystican fights Loxus, he would have been able to stop Loxus. But until then, Loxus would have been the next ruler of Fairy Tail before Mystican shows up. And then when it comes to Arachon Sage, they would have had a very hard time to stop the Arachon Sage, because it was Natsu who managed to beat Zero again by activating his Dragon Force. But if there's no Natsu there, it would have been very difficult for Fairy Tail to stop the Arachon Sage with the other guild. But they still would have probably managed to do so, but in return, Windy would not join Fairy Tail. And now let's get right to what would happen inside the Ellis arc, because having no Natsu there, the Ellis arc would have been actually a big impact too. Because why? Because now that there's no Natsu inside Fairy Tail, I already mentioned that a lot of characters would not be inside Fairy Tail too. For example, Lucy would not be inside Fairy Tail, Gaja would not be inside Fairy Tail, and including Windy, she might not join Fairy Tail either. And having those three Dragon Slayers not join Fairy Tail, the Fairy Tail guild would have been wiped by Aeolus, by the Anima. The Anima would have turned everyone into giant Lacrimum, and therefore the king would have gone with his plan, and therefore Aeolus would have been eternal magic, would have eternal magic. And by the time Mystican gets there, all the Fairy Tail members would have already died because of the Anima, because of the Lacrimum being crushed. And that is the fate of Fairy Tail. That is how Fairy Tail would have ended if Natsu Dragneel never joined Fairy Tail. It would have been a huge impact in both scenarios. And at the end of the day, Aeolus is a place where the Fairy Tail guilds would meet their end. This is my theory on what would have happened if Natsu never joined Fairy Tail. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. What you think would have happened if Natsu had never joined Fairy Tail, and do you think Fairy Tail would have been the same without Natsu? And let me know what you guys think would have happened with the other characters. Like I mentioned, a lot of characters not joined if Natsu never joined Fairy Tail. Fairy Tail would have ended very quickly if it weren't for Natsu. He's always there to motivate everyone, and he's like pretty much the main character there who pretty much everyone could hand over their hopes and dream on Natsu's shoulder. That is all for 3 people. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. If there's anything you guys like about this video I have to talk about, please drop me a like. That would be amazing. If you enjoy my guild by subscribing, please do so. I would really appreciate it. I'm GokuT23. Have an insane day, my fairy fans.